Are there any real estate title NFTs at the moment? Really? Right. I think it's funny. Trissa says.
So it really depends on what you consider real estate. If we're talking about real estate insofar as like metaverse platforms are concerned or virtual worlds, then yes, there are many, many, many different types and many numerically different NFTs that are effectively deeds to various plots or estates or parcels. That's been true for about 4 years, 5 years at this point, somewhere around that line. Decentraland was the first one of these projects to come out, but there have been many that have come since, and some of which are indeed picking up traction. I would also consider this an incredibly nascent space, right? I'm thinking about this as being really interesting. Like as you said, we threw an event the other day, but I'm thinking this is not going to be really interesting for most people for another 3 or 5 years. Um, on the kind of physical real estate side, there have been lots of projects that have attempted this, and I think Kaliya started getting at kind of an important point to take away from this in one of her earlier answers, which is that the kind of intersection between law on the one side and digital on the other side is messy and requires architectures to be built that are intelligent about both things. And so far, those efforts have, in my opinion, not hit the mark. We have people who are very smart on the technology side who know nothing about law, and we've got the opposite situation too. So there may be some projects out there. I think I recall some projects that did do at the, maybe not non-fungible token fundraisers, but fungible token fundraisers maybe a couple of years ago. I feel like Charlie Shrem was involved with one of those projects, and I consulted on with a hotel owner who wanted to tokenize his thing, and I don't know if he ever went forward with it. That would have been back in 2017 or 2018. So like I said, I know that there have been a number of attempts. I am unclear whether or not anyone has actually hit the mark and come to market with one of those things in a non-test capacity, though.
Yeah, I also don't know of a broadly applied framework. A lot of people are taking chances and risks and spending millions and millions of dollars to try to create legal and arbitration frameworks that support the tying of physical plots to digital credentialing. And I believe I heard a story, and I can't remember that. If I get the name wrong, I swear I think it was Benioff or someone in that at that level had purchased a piece of land recently. I don't know why I think that. I have to see if I can find that story. Salim, Kaliya, have you heard of any other projects specifically for real world land title? I mean, just before you answer, we know that in The Mystery of Capital, Hernando de Soto pointed out that this would be the key to unlocking a tremendous amount of wealth in his own words at that time. But I still don't think we've really seen that happen.
I mean, there's land registry digitization projects, but that's different.
Right. Yep. Agreed. Salim, have you heard of anything else lately?
There's a real estate token called Propy, PROPY, where they're trying to create real estate NFTs, and I think they've done one full real estate transaction between buyer and seller using just the blockchain without touching the real world, and that's very new. The jurisdictional issues and the legal issues here are ridiculous, right? Because every country has its own real estate laws, broker fees, land registry titles, etc., etc. My favorite story about the Honduras project, where they tried to put land titles on the blockchain, was the immune system response, because the government, you got to like 8 out of 10 steps to get it done, and then the government realized, wait a minute, if this happens, we're not authoritative of who owns what land that the blockchain is, and therefore you can't do corruption. And that killed the project instantly.
Right.
Stopped the whole thing, because how could you extract bribes, etc., if you're not authoritative? And I think that's the work now to do, is to do this. What I suspect we'll see happening is what we're starting to see in the NFT world, where groups of people will just self-associate with things and start right around the existing systems. And they'll just go, yeah, we all agree amongst us that you own that land, and that what the government says. Yeah. I think that's the kind of thing we're going to start to see in various places, Russia and other places, where there's not proper governance occurring from the top down.
Yeah,
it's going to be messy as hell, though.
it's going to be it's going to be yeah, they're going to make DAOs, and eventually those DAOs will be there. We do have one community member I know of. It's a very early stage for his project, so I don't know that if I should or shouldn't mention it or not. But he's trying to tackle some of this in India. It's Pratik's project. Salim, he's doing some interesting work out there. So all right, well that's an interesting one where we can segue over to talk a little bit about distributed autonomous organizations.